So a lot of you out there have been curious about why I decided to pick up the traditional grip all of a sudden. Why am I making such an effort to master this grip? And I thought I would answer this question first of all by letting you in on sort of a not so secret. If you've known me long enough, you might know this about me. But a lot of you don't know this about me. So instead of talking about it, I'll just show you. Watch this. I know, that's messed up, right? Well, here's the thing. When I first started playing and decided I was going to try the traditional grip, the first time I picked it up in the wrong hand. So for years, that's how I played. My hand just kind of adapted, and that's just how I played. So eventually, I was doing everything like that. Like technically, for a right-handed drummer, that would be considered wrong. So, at the time, I didn't really think about that or didn't care or whatever. I don't know. It just felt comfortable for me. It just kind of made sense, the way I was playing. And nothing really felt awkward. I was playing the hats that way. I was playing the bell and the ride that way. I was playing everything. Everything I was doing, rolls, flams, like I was doing all kinds of stuff. So I eventually got to the point where I got really, really good with the traditional grip. It was just in the wrong hand. As a matter of fact, I ended up winning a drum-off competition using that same grip. I was doing some kind of Steve Gadd paradiddle thing, and apparently that's what put me over the top. So, for years after that, I've been wanting to learn it the right way. Wanting to learn the traditional grip in the left hand. So I attempted it, and then I gave up. And I tried again, and I gave up. And I must have given up on this thing, man, 100 times. So I finally got to the point, this is like years and years and years later, I finally got to the point where I just got tired of watching all my heroes do it the right way and me still not knowing how to do it. So I just decided, you know what, man, I'm just gonna, like, however long it takes. By this point, I knew all about the magic and the majesty of muscle memory. And I knew as long as I stuck with it, I'd pick it up. So that's what happened. I just got up one morning, said, you know what, however long it takes, I'm gonna learn it. And I'm gonna learn it until I master it. And that's why. So there are lots of different opinions out there on the traditional grip. Some drummers are super hardcore with it. Others are a little more casual about it. But a common question is, which one's better? So I thought, hey, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the differences between the traditional and the match grip and the things that I find different about them and why I use it and when I use it. So let's first just get this out of the way. I know you guys have noticed this stick is shredded beyond belief. This is intentional. I tell you what, this is a pair of Keith Carlock signature sticks that I've been using, and I'm fully aware that it's shredded wheat. But you know what? I decided I'm gonna ride this thing out, man. I want to see how long this thing will last until it snaps. So far, it's holding up, and it still sounds great. So I'm aware that it looks like this. Don't worry about it. You're gonna see this in the next few videos. I'm gonna continue to use it until it breaks. All right, so let me give you just my personal thoughts on the whole traditional grip thing. And that grip to me has always been just like driving stick. So, I mean, you can get your driver's license when you're whatever, 17, 18, whatever age you get it at. You can go your entire life without ever learning how to drive stick and you'll be fine. Traditional grip is the same thing. It's not anything that you ever have to know how to do. You spend your whole life playing match grip and you'll be just fine. So it's one of those things where, you know, like if you, for whatever reason, feel that you have to learn it because, I don't know, you're in high school band or something like that and you feel pressured that you have to learn this grip, you don't. There's plenty of jazz drummers out there that swing wicked hard using the match grip. But, you know, at the same time, if you feel like you'd be in a better zone with a traditional grip when you're playing jazz, that's cool too, you know? So, I mean, if you want to learn it just for the sake of learning it, that's fine. But don't approach the traditional grip thinking that it's going to be better than the match grip, because it really isn't. It's just it's two different ways of doing one thing. The reason why I love using the traditional grip is because I feel like a different drummer when I use that grip. It's not because there's any, you know, noticeable advantages for me physically. There's not anything that feels easier than the other grip when I'm doing it. It's just different. Now, one of my original goals when I was learning this grip was to make sure that it feels exactly the same as my match grip because I'm much more comfortable playing a match grip. So that was like my main target goal while I was learning this grip. And then eventually I got to the point where it's like, you know what? Maybe it's not so bad if they don't feel the same. And the reason why I actually like it is because when I'm using a traditional grip, it forces me to interpret things differently than I would if I was using a match grip. So there's a lot of fills and stuff and phrases and things that I can do with the match grip that feel super solid and I would play them a particular way. I can't quite pull them off with the same facility as the traditional. So I have to reinterpret the fill. I have to play something different or I have to approach it a different way. And I think that is actually cooler than being able to play the same fill exactly the same way with both grips. So because of that reason, especially after playing for 30 years, everything feels fresh and exciting when I use a traditional grip, because it's like I had to start all over again. Now, let me just get back to this whole sort of reverse traditional thing in the right hand for a second. There was one major advantage that I had while I was learning the traditional grip in the left hand. And that advantage, of course, is that I was already really good with that grip with my right hand. So when I was practicing, things like bounce strokes and all that kind of stuff that I was already really good with here, all I had to do was take a look at my hands and make sure that they were exactly the same. Finger positioning, all of that kind of stuff. So in the actual sense and definition of the word, my right hand was literally training my left hand. So that was a big advantage for me. Like while I was learning, it just helped to really sort of speed things up because I already had a teacher over here. Now, I did say in a previous video that my intention was to make this my primary grip. And I think to a point that's still true. But there are still situations where I just won't use that grip because for me, it just wouldn't make sense for the situation. Now, one of those situations, or the main situation, is anything that requires power. This, regardless of who you talk to about it, this is not a power grip. It was never intended to be a power grip. So anything that requires a substantial amount of backbeat power and stuff, I revert back to match, just a stronger way to play. Now, it is of course entirely possible to play with a significant amount of power with the traditional grip because there's plenty of guys out there that do it. Vinny, Stuart Copeland, like there's a ton of guys out there that can play really strong with the traditional grip. But it doesn't mean that this grip was intended for that purpose. It's just possible. That's why you don't see a lot of metal drummers using a traditional grip. It would look kind of ridiculous. So for me, like whatever situation I'm in where I really need to play super strong backbeats and stuff, I can only play so strong with the traditional. So anything that really requires some chunk and some beef, I'll go back to match. It just makes more sense that way. Jojo Mayer, prime example of that. We all know he's got two of the most magical hands on the planet. He's completely mastered the traditional grip, but when you see him playing with nerve, he's full on matched. It just makes sense for the style of music that he's playing. Another advantage for me with the traditional grip is that my posture changes while I'm playing. And I don't know if it's a confidence thing. Like, I don't know if it's just because I feel cooler when I'm doing it. But, my posture just kind of readjusts, when I'm using this grip. I float a little bit more on the seat, when I'm using that grip. And, I'm just still trying to make sure that everything's even and I'm not sort of slanted down this way. I kind of like to stay nice and level. It's like riding a motorcycle, you know what I mean? I have to be aware of a lot more things that I'm normally on autopilot with the match grip. So those are my thoughts on the whole traditional versus match thing. But I want to know what you guys think. So drop a comment below. Let's start a conversation. If you're hardcore traditional grip, let us know why. If you're hardcore match grip and you don't like traditional for whatever reason, just let us know. Just keep it respectable. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to fight over this. But yeah, I just curious. Just want to know, what are you guys using and why you're using it and all that stuff. Now, if traditional grip is something that you wanted to get into, then make sure you check out my video, how to develop a killer traditional grip. You're going to need about 25 minutes because it's super detailed, but you're going to know all the fine mechanics to get you jump started into using that grip. I know a lot of you out there have seen it, and it's kick-started your whole journey into that grip. So yeah, anyways, that's it, man. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. See you next video.